So sa part 1, kinahan natin yung first two phases ng budget cycle, which is budget preparation and budget legislation. So sa budget preparation, yung kanyang end product is yung President's budget. And then yung President's budget, binigay sa Congress for House and Senate and bicameral deliberations, and yung final gov, sinabit sa President for the President's enactment para maging batas na siya. And yung final product ng budget legislation is GAA or General Appropriations Act or yung approved budget. So ngayon naman, dahil meron na tayong approved budget, dito na papasok si budget execution. So sa budget execution, this phase, this is the phase where the government funds are spent. So pinapakita ko paano nagagastusin yung paano nagagastusin yung budget na naka-allocate sa isang agency. So merong 4 steps under budget execution. So first is yung release guidelines and BEDs. So dito si BDM mag-i-issue siya ng guidelines on the release and utilization of funds, while yung mga various agencies naman is magsasabit sila ng budget execution documents or BEDs. So itong BEDs BEDs na to, or yung budget execution documentation is reporting requirement siya ng mga government agencies na need nilang i-submit kay BDM every November 30 before that particular financial year. So example, if yung budget year is for year 2022, then yung November 30 should be November 30, 2021. So ano ba yung components ng BEDs? So it includes physical and financial plan. It also includes monthly cash program. It also includes estimate of monthly income, and it includes list of obligations that are not yet due and demandable. So pakita ko yung sample ng PEV. Wait lang. Ito. So ito yung budget execution document to ng DOST. So yung BOD number 1 nila, it pertains to financial plan. Yung BED number 2, it pertains to fiscal plan. And BED number 3, it pertains to monthly disbursement program. So meron pang BED number 4. So yung BED number 4, ito yung annual procurement plan for common use, supplies, and equipment. So siguro since DOST, wala naman silang pinocure na properties or equipment, wala silang BED number 4. Pero sa mga government agencies na merong nag-procure o bumili ng mga properties, ganon, or equipment, so meron silang BED number 4. So, ito yung laman ng BED 1, financial plan. Ito yung BED 2, fiscal plan. And ito yung monthly disbursement ng DOST o BED number 3. So, after nun, mas ma-release na yung guidelines ay makapag-submit na ng BEDs yung mga government agencies. Next step will be allotment. So, ano ba yung allotment? Wait. I remember. So, note ko lang yung major recipient ng budget. So, meron 3 major recipient ng budget. So, first is yung national government agencies or NGAs. So, NGAs include all agencies within the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. So, ito nga yung mga commissions, mga departments like Department of Health, DepEd, DPWH. Tapos, ito rin yung isa ding NGAs yung Land Bank of the Philippines, yung mga social security system, etc. Another major recipient is yung mga LGUs. And LGUs includes autonomous regions, provinces, and cities independent from a province. It also includes component cities and municipalities and barangays. And lastly, yung last major recipient ng budget is yung GOCCs or yung government-owned controlled corporations. So corporations that are owned or controlled directly or indirectly by the government and vested with functions relating to public needs. So example na is yung Light Rail Transit Authority. So punta na tayo sa next step, which is yung allotment. So ano ba meaning ng allotment nila? So yung meaning ng allotment is it is an authorization issued by the DBM to government agencies to incur obligations for specified amounts contained in a legislative appropriation in the form of budget release documents. So it is referred to as obligational authority. So yung allotment, so ganito siya. Kunwari, di ba, sa isang agency, merong 3 million na naka-appropriate sa kanya. So yung allotment is parang mag-release ng budget release document si DBM and nakalagay doon na 2 million lang yung naka-allot na pwedeng gastusin niya ng specific agency na yun. So, ganun yung allotment. So, si DBM gagawa siya ng allotment release program or ARP or ERP. Tapos, nakalagay doon or nakaset doon yung limit for allotment releases during the upcoming year. So, ginagamit to as a control para ma-ensure nga na yung releases is nakakonform sa national budget. And nakakorespond siya sa agency's budget na naka-indicate sa GAA. Tapos, aside from that, ipoformulate din ni DBM yung cash release program or CRP. So, ito naman, nakaset yung disbursement limits for the year, for each quarter, and for each month. So note ko lang, it is illegal for a government entity to incur obligations without having first received the allotment. So, moreover, the type and amount of obligations to be incurred must conform to those that are specified in the allotment. So, kahit nasabihin mo na nakalagay naman po sa GAA na yung transaction na ginawa namin ay yung parang nag-include kami ng obligation and yung obligation, yung transaction na yun is naka-confirm naman sa GAA. Pero dahil wala pang allotment, still illegal pa rin yun kasi kailangan ma-release mo na yung documents. Ma-release mo na yung documents pertaining sa allotment bago mag-incur ng obligation yung isang government agency. So, ano yung mga documents used in releasing allotments to government agencies? So, first is yung General Appropriations Act Release Document or GARD. So, yung GARD, it serves as the obligational authority for the comprehensive release of budgetary items appropriated in the GAA. So, it is categorized as for comprehensive release. Next naman is yung Special Allotment Release Order o SARO. So, SARO covers budgetary items under for later release in the entity's submitted budget execution documents subject to compliance of required documents or clearances. So, example ng SARO is yung mga releases, allotments for special purpose funds such as yung calamity fund, contingent fund, e-government fund, etc. Last document is yung General Allotment Release Order or GARO. So sa GARO naman, it is a comprehensive authority issued to all national government agencies in general to incur obligations not exceeding an authorized amount during a specified period for the purpose indicated therein. So it covers automatically appropriated expenditures common to most, if not all, agencies without need of special clearance or approval from competent authority. So, nakapag-release na ng allotment si DBM. So, once ma-release na yung allotment, pwede na mag-incur ng obligations. So, the next step is incurrence of obligations. So, government agencies, they incur obligations which will be paid by the government. So, ano ba yung obligations? Yung obligations, it is defined as an act of unduly authorized official which binds the government to the immediate or eventual payment of a sum of money. So obligation may be referred to as a commitment that encompasses possible future liabilities based on current contractual agreement. So note ko lang, di ba sabi obligations may be referred to as a commitment that encompasses possible future liabilities based on current contractual agreement. So pag nag-incur ka ng obligation, hindi ka pa si government agency, hindi pa siya magre-record ng payable o liability. So mag-i-start lang siya mag-record ng liability o payable sa buong accounts niya kapag obligation or kapag kapag na-receive na yung goods or services. So next na step under budget execution is yung disbursement authority. So sa disbursement authority, si DBM, mag-i-issue siya ng disbursement authority sa mga government agencies. So ito yung point kung saan yung government agencies is makaka-obtain na sila ng access to the government funds. So ibig sabihin, kapag nag-release ng disbursement authority, si DBM, yung government agency, pwede niya lang gamitin yung government funds. So pwede niya lang ipambayad dun sa obligation na in-incur niya. So, ano yung mga documents used in releasing disbursement authority to government agencies? So, first is yung notice of cash allocation o yung authority issued by the DBM to central, regional, and provincial offices and operating units to cover their cash requirements. So, yung NCA, naka-specify doon yung maximum amount of cash that can be withdrawn from a government servicing bank in a certain period. So, note ko lang din, yung NCA is nakabase siya sa agencies submitted monthly cash program. Next is yung Notice of Transfer of Allocation or NTA. So, sa NTA naman, ito yung authority issued by an agency's central office to its regional and operating units to cover the latter's cash requirement. So, paano ba siya? Ito siya, kunwari, di ba, nag-release nga ng disbursement authority, nag-release na ng NCA. So, meron ng budget, meron ng fund, yung central office, regional office, yung central office, regional office, pati yung mga operating units. Tapos, yung regional office pala is hindi enough or hindi sufficient yung fund na natanggap niya para makover yung cash requirement. So, dahil doon, ang gagawin ni central office, mag-i-issue siya ng NTA or Notice of Transfer of Allocation. So, parang ito yung authority niya, parang dito may papakita na meron siyang authority na mag-transfer ng allocation sa regional office niya para nga makover yung cash requirement ng regional office. Next is yung Non-Cash Availment Authority. So, sa Non-Cash Availment Authority, it is the authority issued by the DBM to agencies to cover the liquidation of their actual obligations incurred against available allotments for availment of proceeds from loans or grants through suppliers' credit or constructive cash. So, ganito naman siya. So, note ko lang kasi yung NCA at NTA, bali may access sila dun sa mismong bank account. So, ang mangyayari doon is lalagyan lang ng funds yung bank account na ginagamit ng agency. And then, yung agency, doon sila kukuha, mag-withdraw lang sila ng cash doon para ipambayad dun sa obligation na in-incur nila. Pagdating kasi sa NCAA, iba naman siya. So, sa NCAA, yung mismong agency, hindi siya yung magbabayad sa supplier or sa entity na nakakonstruct niya. Ma'am, kung hindi po si agency magbabayad, sino po yung magbabayad? Ang magbabayad is si Bureau of Treasury or yung BTR. So, mangyayari is ganito siya. Di ba, yung government agency, kunyari, procurement ng property. So, bumili siya ng property sa isang supplier. And yung supplier na yun, meron siyang credit line sa BTR. So, if kunwari magbabayad na si agency regarding sa binili niyang properties, si supplier, ang sisingilin niya is hindi si agency. Ang sisingilin niya is si BTR kasi nga kay BTR yung pambayad. Next is yung cash disbursement ceiling. So, sa cash disbursement ceiling naman, authority issued by the DBM to agencies which with foreign operations, allowing them to use the income collected by their foreign service posts to cover their operating requirements. So, example nga nun is Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA. So, di ba meron silang foreign operations. So, parang instead na manghingi sila ng NCA dahil sa Pilipinas, ang gagawin nila is yung collection nila or yung income na nakolekta nila is ito yung gagamitin nila para sa operations requirement nila. Pero tandaan nyo, merong ceiling. So, paano po yun? So, kunwari, nakakalik sila ng $100. Tapos, sinabi kasi sa GAA na $30 lang yung pwede nilang gamitin. Or $30 lang yung pwede nilang gamitin to cover their operating requirements. So, dahil doon, $30 lang yung pwede nilang gastusin. Yung $70 is i-remit siya sa Pilipinas. So, note ko lang, yung disbursement, yung most commonly made through checks, yung disbursement are most commonly made through checks that are chargeable against account of the Treasurer of the Philippines. So, yung checks issued under this scheme are called Modified Disbursement System or MDS checks. So, yung other modes ng disbursement is matatakal siya or mas i-elaborate sa Chapter 5. So, tapos na yung budget execution. So, kasi nabigyan na yung disbursement authority. So, papasok tayo sa last phase ng budget cycle. It is, which is the budget accountability. Pero remind ko lang, budget accountability, hindi siya mag-i-start kapag natapos na yung budget execution. So, yung budget accountability, ginagawa siya concurrently with the budget execution phase. Kasi nga, as the budget being executed, it is regularly monitored to determine the conformance of actual results with planned targets. So, dito, parang makikita nila kung nakakonform ba talaga, kung nagagawa ba yung nakakonform ba yung parang titingnan nila, i-check nila kung yung pag-spend ba ng government agency is nakakonform sa plan dun sa may approved budget. So, yung sinabi ba nilang outcome is nagagawa ba? Mga ganun. So, kaya yung budget accountability is parang kasabay siyang ginagawa ng budget execution. So, ano ba yung steps under budget accountability? So, mayroon 3. Yung first is yung budget accountability reports. So, budget accountability reports, yung mga government agencies is required sila mag-submit ng mga accountability reports. So, ito nga, yung mga reports na to is first, yung monthly report of disbursement or ito yung report that shows the disbursement of the entity during the month classified according to the type of disbursement authority. Another second report naman is yung quarterly physical report of operation. So it shows the agency's physical accomplishments in a given quarter vis-a-vis with its physical targets. Next na document, next na report na need na lang i-submit is statement of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursement, and balances. So this report shows the agency's authorized appropriations, allotments, received obligations incurred, disbursements made, and the balances of unreleased appropriations, unobligated allotments, and unpaid obligations. Next is yung summary of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursements, and balances by object of expenditures. So same lang naman siya sa statement of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursement, and balances. Ang difference lang naman is dito sa summary is naka-provide yung details of expenditure. So parang mas detailed yung summary of itong part na report kasi nga pinapakita yung details ng expenditure. So yung pang-limang report is yung list of allotments and sub-allotments. So this report shows the allotments received by the agency from the DBM and the sub-allotments issued by the agency's central office or regional office to lower operating rates. Yung pang-anim is yung statement of approved budgets, utilizations, disbursements, and balances. So this report is prepared by agencies that have authority to use their revenue. So this report shows the budgeted revenue, the utilizations, and disbursement thereof, and yung unutilized amount. So ito is yung summary of approved budget, utilizations, disbursement, and balances by object of expenditure. So same lang siya sa pang-anim na report. So ang difference lang din is the summary of approved budget, utilizations, disbursement, and balances by object of expenditures is naka-provide yung details of expenditures. Pang-walo is yung quarterly report of revenue and other receipts. So sa report na to, it shows the actual revenues and other receipts remitted to the BTR and deposited in authorized government depository banks in a given quarter. And lastly is yung aging of due and demandable obligations, shows the name of creditors, the amounts owed to them, number of these obligations are outstanding. So note ko lang, yung number 3 tsaka 4 na reports, so yung mga government agencies, gumagawa din sila ng consolidated statement of allotments, obligations, and balances per summary of appropriation. So nakabase siya sa report sa number 3 and 4 reports. So kailan yung date of submission? So yung mga report disbursement is sasubmit siya within 30 days after the end of each month. Yung quarterly physical report of operation, statement of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursement, and balances, summary of appropriations, allotments, obligations, disbursement, and balances by object of expenditures, yung list of allotments and sub-allotments, yung statement and yung summary ng approved budget, utilizations, disbursement, and balances, and yung quarterly report of revenue and other receipts, they are submitted 30 days after the end of each quarter. Tapos, yung aging of due and demandable obligations, they are naman submitted 30 days after the end of the year. And lastly, yung consolidated statement of allotments, obligations, and balances per summary of appropriateness, it is submitted on or before February 14 of the following year. So, di ba? So, February 14, hindi lang mga single yung masasama yung loob. So, February 14, masama din yung loob ng mga government agency. Kasi nga, kailangan na lang i-submit. So, parang ito yung last day ng submission ng consolidated statement of allotments, obligations, and balances per summary of appropriateness. So, mga government agencies, busy sila ng February 14. So, next step is yung performance reviews. So, paano ba yung performance reviews? So, performance reviews, si DBM and si COA, magpa-perform sila ng periodic reviews sa mga agencies' performance and budget accountability. And yung findings na makikita nila doon is i-report nila sa President. And yung last na step is yung audit. So, si COA, i-audit niya yung agency. So, katulad lang ng normal na audit. So, i-check nila yung, i-verify nila kung yung mga transactions ba na yung in-incur ng government agency is valid. So, paano nila i-verify yun? Titignan nila yung mga resibo, mga vouchers, mga ganun. Tapos, titingnan din nila kung accurate ba yung pagkaka-record ng mga government agency. So, mga ganun. So, ganun yung covers ng audit. Tapos, inote ko lang din na yung budget reports, together with budget records, bali, ito yung magpo-provide ng information para makagawa or ma-prepare yung statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. So, di ba nga, dahil nga, yung government, ina-account nila yung budgets, so, hindi na lang mag-prepare din ng statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. Kasi, nandito nakalagay yung budget information. So, ito yung budget cycle, yung pinakakabuuan ng budget cycle. So, di ba yung summary, so kuha tayo ng summary. So, yung budget cycle, mag-i-start siya sa budget call. So, budget call, i-issue siya ng DBM to all government agencies. And dahil gusto ng government na increase yung citizens participation, gagamit sila ng bottom-up approach. So, yung pag-prepare ng budget proposal is magsisimula from lowest level to the highest level. And then once na magawa na nila yung budget proposal, isasabit na nila yun sa DBM. So, ide-depend nila yung budget proposal nila sa DBM. And yung DBM, gagawa sila ng, i-deliberate nila yung budget proposal, gagawa sila ng recommendation, and then, i-consolidate nila yun, and mag-prepare sila sa, i-consolidate nila yung budget proposal, and then, mag-prepare sila ng NEP and BESF. So, yung proposed budget, isasabit nila sa President. So, dito papasok yung pangatlong step, which is yung presentation to the Office of the President. So, si DBM, ipapresent niya yung proposed budget sa President and Cabinet members. And once na na-approve yung proposed budget, si DBM, magpe-prepare na siya and ipa-finalize yung mga documents na gagamitin at ipapasa sa Congress. So, yung proposed budget, it will be referred to as President's budget, and it will be submitted 30 days, within 30 days by the President to the Congress. So, tapos na yung budget preparation. Papasok na ng budget legislation. Sa budget legislation, once na ma-receive ni House Speaker yung President's budget, ibibigay niya sa House Appropriation Committee. So, yung HAC, i-deliberate nila yung yung President's budget, and gagawa sila after ng hearing, i-prepare nila yung GAB. So, magkakaroon sila ng House version ng GAB. Tapos, same process sa Senate deliberations. So, magkakaroon ng deliberation or hearing yung Senate regarding din sa GAB. And yung end product nun is magkakaroon sila ng Senate version ng GAB. Since dalawa na yung version ng GAB, mayroong House version and Senate version, papasok siya sa bicameral deliberations. So, yung bicameral deliberations naman, yung bicameral committee, bale, parang magkakaroon sila ng deliberation para i-harmonize yung conflicts between both versions. And kapag na-resolve nila yung conflicts, ibabalik nila yun sa Senate and sa House of Representatives para i-ratify yung GAB. And once na ma-ratify na nila yun, magkakaroon na ng final version ng GAB. And yung GAB, ipapasa siya o isasubmit siya sa President for its enactment. So, kapag in-approve ng President yung GAB, magiging na siyang GAA or yung General Appropriations Act. So, ito na yung approved budget. So, note ko lang, pwedeng i-exercise ni President kanyang veto power if meron siyang problema or issue dun sa binigay na final version ng GAB. So, 'di ba, meron ng approved budget. So, naging law na yung budget. So, kapag na-approve pag may approve budget na, so magre-release na ng guidelines si DBM. And yung buyers agency, kailangan nila mag-submit ng BED sa DBM. Tapos after nun, parang si DBM magre-release na siya ng allotment. So sa allotment, doon nga, parang merong ilang specified na amount na pwedeng i-spend si government agencies. So after mag-release ni DBM ng allotment, then pwede nang mag-incur ng obligation si government agencies. Note ko lang, yung incurrence ng obligation is hindi pa yun yung time na magre-record ng liability or payable si government agencies. So magre-record lang siya once na ma-receive niya yung goods or services. So naka-incur na ng obligation. Tapos hinihintay na lang niya na mag-issue si DBM ng disbursement authority. So sa disbursement authority, parang ito na yung point na pwede nang gamitin ni government agencies yung allocated funds sa agency nila. So once na ma-release na yung disbursement authority, then pwede na lang bayaran yung obligation na in-incur nila. So yun yung budget execution. So habang ine-execute yung budget, kasabay nun, ginagawa na yung budget accountability. So ano ba yung mga steps under budget accountability? So first, budget accountability reports. Kailangan gumawa ni government agencies ng accountability reports. After nun, magpa-perform din yung DBM ng NCOA ng performance reviews. So, yung findings nun, isasubmit sa President. And lastly, yung last step is i-audit ni COA yung mga government agencies. So, yun yung parang pinaka-summary ng budget cycle. So, parang ito yung pinakabuuan ng budget process or paano ginagawa yung budget. So, next, pasok ko lang yung responsibility accounting. So, I know pamilya kayo sa responsibility accounting kasi nga natakil na yun sa MES. So, bakit yung pinasok yung responsibility accounting sa government accounting? Kasi sabi, to better evaluate the budget accountability of an entity, in government accounting daw, it adheres to the concept of responsibility accounting. So, ano ba yung responsibility accounting? So, responsibility accounting is a system of providing cost and revenue information over which a manager has direct control of. So, by using responsibility accounting, this enables the evaluation of manager's performance based only on matters that are directly under his control. So, by using responsibility accounting, yung mga budget deviations can be readily attributed to the managers accountable for. So, note ko lang, kahit na yung government agencies kasi, kahit na nag-incur siya, nagko-collect siya ng revenue, or nagko-collect siya ng revenue through collection of taxes and other fees, still, government agencies are considered as cost center. Kasi nga, yung primary purpose nila is to render service to the public at the lowest possible cost. So, yung each manager ng agency that is a cost center is evaluated based on his ability to meet budgeted goals or controllable costs. And yung all costs are controllable by top management kasi nga high extension authority nila, while kapag wag naman lower management is mas maliit yung mas konti lang yung cost na nakokontrol nila kasi nga maliit yung scope ng authority nila. So, yung each government agency natin is meron siyang assigned na responsibility center code. Okay, and that ends our discussion about chapter 2 or yung budget process. So, pakisagutan na lang yung assignment para lang matest yung knowledge, kung may natutunan kayo regarding sa discussion natin ngayon. Thank you.